Alright guys, welcome back. Chris here, Warcraft 24/7, and as promised, this is the first phase of the Getting Back to Basics Tradeskill Master. I know some of you guys been asking for this for a little bit, trying to get back to basics, wanting to get started on everything. We are here on our Death Knight. This is our new banker over on Dalaran. If you guys didn't know, we put out a video not too long ago where we switched over to the Dalaran server, reformed a guild with some friends. Things are going pretty good, but it's a fresh start. Um, been over here for a little while. I've got most of my stuff set up, but it's a fresh start, and I thought I'd show you guys how to go about it, like a brand new start from Tradeskill Master. Now, this is assuming that you have everything installed already. Go to CurseForge, install Tradeskill Master, install the companion app, set up an account on Tradeskill Master. You know, link it up. It's really simple, but just go through the CurseForge. Don't try to go through the website and do it that way. Go through CurseForge. It makes it a lot simpler. But let's open up Tradeskill Master. We're going into settings, and I am going to I'm going to switch back to the default real quick here. We're going to get rid of this profile. All right, so different profiles. If you have different profiles, you can set up different groups, different operations per each profile. We're going to set up a brand new one. Like I said, I'm going to walk you guys through this from scratch. So this is number one. We're at the settings tab. Everything's been installed. It's going to be on default. You're not going to have all these different profiles set up. You're just going to have the default when you get in here. So what you want to do, you don't want to use default. Okay, that's a bad idea. I mean, you can if you feel very uncomfortable and you want to kind of get started with it, but you're going to leave a lot of gold on the table. You're going to sell some stuff a lot cheaper than you wanted to. It's just not going to be a good experience, or as good of an experience as it could be. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down here to create new profile, and this is going to be whatever you want to name it. You can name it anything you want. I'm going to name it after my toon that it's going to be using it, our banker toon. You can see in the past I've used Banker, I've used Cash Cow, which was our big auction guy over on Ice Crown. Banker Bob was one of my auction guys here. Then I have a couple things set up for farmers. I like to put the server name and then what it is. If it's a farmer, if it's a banker, whatever, just makes it easier sometimes to switch between. I'm kind of working on a new naming structure right now, but you definitely want two profiles. You want one for your characters that are out farming, and you want one for your character that's sitting at the auction house banking. You could put all that stuff in one profile, but I really feel strongly that it's going to help you keep it separate and make sure you don't have mistakes by having those two different profiles, because there may be some things that you want to go out and farm and you want to send those to your banker, but then after a while you realize that they're not selling the way you wanted to, and you want to put some limits on it, or you may want to vendor it from your banker after so many times of it not being sold. But you want to go to that point before you start vendoring it. You just don't want to put it under vendor trash to start with. That way you can have two different profiles, and it works out real easy. So here we go. We set up new profile, Sofish, that is our bank toon. All right. If you'll notice when you go through here, everything is going to be set to default. It's brand new thing. Everything's on default. There's no groups. Don't worry about dashboard and ledger. That's going to keep track of all your stuff across all your characters. We're really focusing on these three tabs: groups, operations, settings, for this episode. Alright, so groups. I'm going to tell you guys how I set up groups. It works for me. I think it'll work for you. It'll help you getting started until you become comfortable enough to make your own groups the way you want to do them. It's a pretty simple naming or group layout structure, and you'll be able to find all my groups in our Discord. You can join our Discord. Link will be in the description of the video. The Discord's a good place to jump in. You'll be able to find different information. You'll be asking me things, directly while I'm offline. I'll respond on Discord. Lots of good advantages of being on our Discord server. You can also follow us live on Twitch. We are at Warcraft 24/7 live. It's Warcraft 24/7 live on Twitch. You can follow us there. We do stream. All right. So here we go. Up here at the top under base group, you'll see a plus sign. We're going to click that. That's going to make a new group for us. All right. We want to rename this group. So I like to keep my groups in order. So 01, because it's gonna keep the groups in order, in numerical order. So if you put the 01 at the front, it's gonna keep that in the front. And this first one is simply vendor trash. All right, that's everything we want to vendor. When we open up the merchant tab to sell to a vendor or vendor tab, we open that up. This is everything that we want to sell off as junk. We don't care about auctioning. We don't care about sending it over to anybody. It's just so cheap that it's not even worth the effort to mail it to a different character. So that's vendor trash. Now, underneath vendor trash, I have several different ways I like to break things out. Just because it is convenient for me. It's kind of the way I do it. I'm not saying you have to do it this way, but it will help you, I believe. And that is simply, we're going to add a plus sign again, and now we have a subgroup underneath our vendor trash group. Okay, so you can nest these down, pretty much as far as you want to. You can keep having subgroups and fine tuning things as much as you want. But what I like to do under vendor trash, and we're not gonna put in the specific names. I'm just this kind of general setup, so you can name these anything you want, but I'm gonna show you how I would do it. So I would do 01 again to keep everything in order, and then right now I'm just putting in dungeon 1. Okay, so and then we'll go back to vendor trash, hit the plus button, 02 dungeon 2, and you keep going on that way. And why? Okay, what's the point of that? What I use these for: dungeon 1, dungeon 2, dungeon 3, 5, 15, 20, however many you want to go through, every dungeon in the game. What I do is I set up, for example, this would be Razorfang Crawl, Ragefire Chasm, Wailing Caverns, Magister's Terrace. I set one up for each individual dungeon. And then when I go into the dungeon and I loot soulbound items that, regardless of what character they're on, they're going to be, you're going to pick it up. It's soulbound. If you're a plate wearer, it may be leather, maybe cloth because of the legacy loot rules, but it's going to be soulbound, and you still want to be able to sell that. So what I do is I dump that in each individual dungeon. I make each individual dungeon its own tab, or its own group category, if you would, so that I can keep it separated. Now that's different from the vendor trash that we pick up while running the dungeons that's just, gray items or white items that's just junk, that doesn't matter. These are specific items that are soul bound to the dungeon when you pick them up. And I like to put those out in specific groups because when you're going through and you're running a dungeon over and over and you're picking up all these soul bound items, you don't want to have to go into your inventory and sell them one at a time, clicking through. You want to be able to have them in a group so you can hit Tradeskill Master, hit the vendor button, and it'll sell all that stuff. So first main group, vendor trash. Then we break it out into dungeons. Okay. Then we're going to add another main group. I call this transmog. Okay, this is all of our transmog items. This is everything we are going to sell for transmog. And we're going to set this up in a couple different ways. We're going to set some new groups. You're going to make one that says vendor purchase. All right. We're going to make another, wrong plus button. See, that created another subgroup under vendor purchase. And later on, we may break that down even more into subgroups. We're going to delete that right now. We don't need that. It's still under transmog. You're going to hit the plus sign. All right, 02. That's going to keep it in order. Okay, we're going to say gray items. Okay. Number 3, white items. Number 4, green items. Zero 05. All right. 05. Blue items. 06. Purple items. Now, why is this important to split them out into different ones? Because we're going to handle each one of them differently by splitting them out into separate groups. We can drill down on our operations more specifically to affect each one of those groups. That way we're not lumping all of our transmog into one category. We can set up an operation, a rule set, if you would, that says we're gonna take care of our gray items this way. We're gonna sell them for this price. Our white items we're gonna sell for this price. Our green items this price. Our blue items this price. All the way through. That way, we can keep a pretty good control of everything. We have vendor purchases. That is going to be items, and we'll set up an operation to actually purchase those items from vendors as we go through the game. But those are going to be items that we can buy from a vendor. We're going to turn around and we're going to flip those on the auction house. We're going to sell them for more than we paid for them. All right, so we have vendor trash, we got transmog. We're going to add another group. Professions. I don't think I spelled that right. I think it's 1F. Let me just check real quick. I'm horrible at spelling professions. Yeah, it's 1F. ESSIONS. Professions. Alright, so a lot of different categories you can put under professions. You can break that down as much as you want. We're going to go under professions. We're going to change this one. It's real simple. We're going to call this herbs. So that's what we're going out to get. We're going out to get herbs. Ore and stone. So there's our ore and stone. We made a group for ore and stone that is just a simple group to drop our ore in. You know, if we're going to keep going on this trend, basically these are our gathering professions. We're going to put skins, cloth, inks, dust, and shards. Gems. All right. So we've made all these groups, all right? So these are all, if you look at it under professions, herbs, ore and stone, skins, cloth, inks, dust and shards, gems. Those are all gathering materials. That's so it's kind of, we kind of got it under a general category of professions. But we wanted to we really wanted to make another category, and we didn't really want to remake professions, but we wanted another subcategory to drill this down even further. So let's go. We're going to add a category here, and we're going to call it 01 raw mats. Let's fix that spelling. Let's fix that. I don't like to have extra capitals in there. All right, raw mats. Now you see it dropped it in order right behind herbs because of the 01, but we really don't want it in this group. We want this to be the header of all these groups. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on herbs. We're going to simply drag it on top of raw materials. And we're going to do that for all of these. And this works for any one of these groups. You can move them around as much as you want, drop them in. And see, now we got professions, raw materials, then it's broke down even further into herbs, ores, and everything else. So again, that gives us more control by breaking out herbs, ores, skins, cloth, inks, all that stuff, those different items. That gives us more control over how we can use that in mailing operations, in vendoring operations, in auctioning operations. So under professions, we're gonna add one 02, and we're gonna call it crafting. All right, so now we have our raw materials category and we have our crafting category. And underneath this, we would do something like blacksmithing. All right, so now you got vendor trash, transmog, prospecting, our professions, raw materials, crafting, and of course under this blacksmithing, we would just keep adding on to it, alchemy, tailoring, enchanting, anything that is a crafting, we could add on to that. That comes in handy when we start crafting materials for crafting transmogs, crafting things to sell. So it's good to break that out. So, all right, so we got some groups. I hope you guys understand groups at this point. It's pretty simple. Groups are just a way to organize your items. If nothing's in a group, it's going to show over here under ungrouped items. So basically what you want to do, you want to set up a group structure that works for you. You don't have to use my structure, but you want to use a structure. You want to kind of plan it out before you get started. You want a structure that's going to work for you, because we want to make sure that structure is going to work for you all the time. All right, turn my wow sound on. I didn't realize I had my audio muted for my my sound, so um, let's see. Okay. So I hope you guys understand groups. It's pretty simple. We're coming up on the 20-minute mark here. We're gonna wrap this up here in just a minute with part one, and then we'll get into as I record these. I'm gonna put them out in very small chunks, so it's quick and easy to get to. If you guys like my videos, if you've seen my videos, you know that that's kind of how we like to do things. We like to do things in small chunks so you can get in, get out, no wasted time, no wasted effort. But while we're here, let's go ahead and put some items in a group. So here's how it works. Gray items, all right? Gray items is selected. You can see it's also up at the top, gray items. Then we're going to go here in our ungrouped items, and we're going to look for gray transmog items. All right, so here we go. Corroded. All these are gray items. All right, so there's our gray items. We're going to hit, we got them checked. We're going to add 9 items. So 9 items went over here into the gray items. You'll notice they're in this group. They're no longer in this group. So if we switch to white, we're not going to see them anymore because they're in the gray item group. And we're left with the things that are ungrouped. So let's go to greens because we've got a bunch of greens in here. Deep rock signet. We'll grab all these greens. Mount equipment is green, but it's not a transmog item, so it's not going to go in the transmog. And I know what you're thinking, rings aren't transmog items either. Yes, that's true, they're not. But it makes more sense to have rings in the transmog group than it would the comfortable rider's barding. That would be more of under a profession item that we're going to sell, because we're going to be able to craft that. Alright, so there. We move those items into our green box, our green group. We're going to go back and we're going to do the same thing for the blues. Now, these are soulbound, so it wouldn't make any sense to put those into a group because they're soulbound. It's not going to do any good. We can mail them to our own accounts, but we're not going to be able to auction them off. So we wouldn't really want to be adding those. But we would want to come down here. Now, you can break this down even further, like these blue items. If you wanted to add another subcategory and say you wanted this to be, quest items, you could do it that way. Or the better way that I find is, even though regardless of color, we're going to want to sell those items. So we're going to make a new group, and we're going to call it quest items, because those quest items, people are going to buy those simply because they are a quest item. It's something they can turn in for a quest. There's a lot of those in the game that you can pick up, and people can use those. So it would make more sense to put Monstrous Egg and the Grimoire, which both those start a quest that you can turn in at the Darkmoon Fair. So those do sell. They don't sell for a lot, but they sell. I mean, you pick them up all the time if you're doing, if you got everything set up and you're doing Darkmoon Fair reputations, and you got the book, you're gonna kill stuff, and you're gonna pick these items up. So why vendor them or turn them in and get rid of them or whatever you want to do with them when you could turn around and put them on the auction house, make a couple hundred gold with them? It's just pretty easy. And we're going to make another group, and we're going to call this one Pets. Excuse me. Now, these are battle pets. So if you'll notice, we have a Sinister Squashling. Teach you how to summon this companion. Right now, the minimum buyout is 49 silver. That's because it's Halloween and the Headless Horseman thing is going on, and there's a bunch of those out there. There's a lot of people picking those up. Historically, though, they sell for about 50 gold. Realistically, you level it up to level 25, you'll be able to get that 50 gold. You're selling level 1, you're probably going to get, you know, 15 to 20 gold if you get that. But there's a lot of battle pets that sell for a lot of money. So we'll want to create a category for our battle pets where we're going to group all our battle pets up. Alright, now we're going to go back to professions, and you'll see here I got some gems that are already cut. Alright, so what we would do under professions, under crafting, jewel crafting. So under jewel crafting, then once again we're going to drop in all these items that are already, those have already been assigned to a group. Now you see our group over here is getting a lot smaller. Alright, let's go back up to vendor trash, because we're gonna clean this set up here. Vendor trash, black mushroom. It sells for 5 copper to a vendor. Okay, you pick these up all the time. It auctions on the auction house for 9 silver. But here's the thing: your time to take this item, carry it in your bag, mail it to an alt to turn around and post it on the auction house, you're losing money even putting this item up on the auction house. Even at 9 silver, you're not going to make any money. It's more economical for you, and it's more efficient for you to simply vendor that item. So we'll want to take that black mushroom. We're going to want to drop it over there. Same way with this bottle of Dollar Noir. You know, it's an alcoholic beverage. Believe me, they sell on the auction house. For whatever reason, they sell. But again, the profit margin is so small, you know, you're just going to want to vendor this and get rid of it. So we're gonna move it into vendor trash. Elemental motes, they're required for honoring our ancestors. You don't need many of them. They sell for 40 silver, 40 silver 65 to a vendor. Okay, they're on the auction house for 41 silver. There's no profit there. There's no reason to hang on to these. They're just junk. They're vendor junk. You pick them up so much. I mean, there's 1,000 of them on the auction house right now. You pick these up so much that you know, just once you use them for your quest for all the things and get all that done, you just get rid of them. They're not worth having. Same thing with like these scrolls of protection. They're just junk. You don't need them. All right. Under professions, we got raw mats. We're going to go to cloth. All right. We're going to drop in wool and a bolt of wool. Those are not items we're going to put on the auction house, but they are raw materials for professions, and we want to be able to capture those and use those in professions, because what we can do, we can take those, turn around and craft something. All right. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. Like these Sun Fury signets, those are quest items. They're for reputation turn-ins. We're going to add those in there to under quest items, because we'll break quest items down even further into, you know, reputation items, items we want to vendor, items we want to keep, so forth and so on. So under professions, again, we don't have one for leatherworking yet, so let's make one. So we're wanting to clear this list out. Leatherworking. All right. We're going to drop that comfortable rider's barding right in that leatherworking. Again, when we start doing operations, we can assign operations to all these different categories. We can either do it to the parent category and capture everything underneath it, or we can break down and go into each individual category and assign a different operation to every single one. You know, we can have a different operation for all these different items as much as we want to break it down. This weighted jack-o'-lantern, they do sell. They are needed for a quest, or you get them from a quest, but they're needed for an achievement in order to, you know, you got to throw weighted jack-o'-lanterns on people's heads. So we're actually going to put those, because it's an achievement, we're going to put those under quest items right now until we break that out even further. But that's kind of where it belongs. You know, we'll get into. I'm about as far as I'm going to go with these, because these are all soul-bound items, account bound, except for the food, the tasty hatchling treat. Not too worried about that right now. But I hope that shows you how you organize your groups. You know, you want to start off with your base group, figure out how you want to break everything down. Like I said, this vendor trash, that'll be just stuff we want to sell. Then I'll actually break down into each individual dungeon for the soulbound items. When we start doing some runs, I start showing you guys some runs through some dungeons and how we handle that stuff. I will show you how to put those in those groups. It's very simple, but it needs to be something that I can show you how to do it on a farming toon. So we got vendor trash, transmog, professions, got all that broke down. All right, that's where we're going to end this video. We're a little bit over 30 minutes. That's a lot longer than I wanted it to be. I appreciate you guys turning in to watch it. Please hit the sub button if you haven't already. Give us a like if this video helped. There'll be a lot more of these coming up. Like I said, we're getting back to basics. We're going to break this down. And I'm not going to touch this account anymore until part 2 of the video. So you're going to see step by step everything we've done. Everything we've done already is going to be here. This is part 1. Part 2, we're going to pick up. We're going to go through and we're just going to add to this. We're going to increase, expand our Tradeskill Master. But right now, what I want you to do is take time, focus on your groups, break them down how you want them, figure out your naming structure, figure out your organization, how you want them to break down, and go ahead and get your group set up so that you can follow along with us next time when we keep expanding on this. All right, I appreciate you guys. Again, this is Chris, Warcraft 24/7. I am signing off. If you guys would, like I said, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out. Follow us on Twitch. We stream live on Twitch. We'd love to have you guys on there. Drop in chat and say hi. But until next time, this is the end of part 1. We'll pick up with part 2. Should have it out within the week, and we'll just keep going. Thanks, guys, so much.